for those of you who don't know, Danielle, that's the right pronunciation, right? Danielle?
Yeah.
Yeah. She's an amazing photographer based in Connecticut. She's very talented. Her work is fantastic. Her images look almost like paintings. They are pieces of art. But more than that, I think in the boudoir community, we talk a lot about women empowerment. And I think you are the personification of that, because you are a very strong, independent, successful businesswoman. So I think your story and the things you have to say could be very helpful for people that are beginning, especially women that are trying to begin in the boudoir industry, because they're hesitating, should I do this or not?
Right.
I mean, you're living proof that you can be very successful doing boudoir photography.
Yes.
So I think that people will benefit from your story and the things you have to say. So the first thing I would like to ask you is, I know you have formal education as a boudoir, as a photographer, right? You studied photography. So
Yes.
do you think this is something that has helped you, has shaped the way you take photos, that has given you an edge in photography? And would you recommend have a formal education to other people?
I think that it definitely helped on the art side of things, not necessarily on the business side of things, maybe, because in school, I don't think I think in school in general, they don't cover enough about actually running your own business. I actually learned more about business after I graduated. I worked for one of my teachers at his studio, and that's where I picked up, like, how to actually run things. And they did their studio, they built it out of their house also. So that was really helpful for me. As far as the business side of things, the art side of things, I think the school definitely gave me a step up, because I mean, that was 4 years of just studying like art and emotional connections with art. And what?
Yeah, so sorry for interrupting you. I wanted to ask, so in terms of art, what is that you think was more helpful for you, like shaping the way you compose your images, or using light, or what are the things that you think would be helpful?
Everything. Lighting was like number one. And I think a lot of people start photography and they don't take the time to learn it. And I was forced to learn it in so many situations. So I had to learn like artificial lighting. I had to learn natural lighting. I had to learn how to combine both, and shooting outside portraits. So, I mean, just learning all of that, the zone system and how to expose correctly for film, and not having a digital back to reference. I think all of that is helpful. And it just made me more efficient. And like now I can kind of like judge things based on the light. I don't necessarily have to look at the camera and be like, okay, what is the proper exposure? I kind of know, because I had to do that with film. And even my digital classes, my teachers, they would make you take the back of your camera, so you couldn't even see what you were doing, because they didn't want you to rely on the picture, which is so smart, because it's not like when I shoot now, the back of my camera is not a good indicator of what it's going to look like. It's super dark. I shoot for the highlights, so it'll be super dark on the back, and you have just no idea. And I could show it to something and be like, that I don't even know what's going on there. That's not right. But really it is like, and I don't know. I think school definitely helped with lighting, number one, composition for sure. And just having, teachers that have been doing it for so long to just like bounce ideas off of. And when I would come up with a portfolio or a project, being able to talk to somebody about it instead of just like by myself and trying to figure it out. Like, it was so nice to have that and just guidance. And then studying like art history was very helpful. Studying other photographers, Mapplethorpe and Sally Mann, and so many so many people that just, I feel like, you know, you need to take the time to really learn your craft before you begin. And I think that was really helpful for me.
Yeah, I think you're correct. All the things that you say make a lot of sense. Especially, you know, photographers that and the people that are beginning in photography, myself included. I at the beginning I focus a lot in equipment, right? And I think that's a mistake.
Yes, I agree.
Most photographers do. So I wanted to, before we talk about equipment, because I would like to ask you a couple of questions about that. But in terms of how you light your images, you say you have learned to use both natural light and artificial light. So what is your preference? Will you say now, will you shoot more natural or artificial, or it's a combination of both?
I shoot mostly natural now. I'll add in like ice lights and stuff like that. But I don't know, I've kind of gotten away from using lighting. I have lighting and I can use it if I need it, but I find it's just so much easier to flow through a session without having to worry about lights and all of that. Like if I'm in a situation where I need it. But even though, I don't know, I was shooting in Utah and it was like past sundown and it was very dark. And I mean, the cameras now, the ISO goes up so high.
Crazy.
It was fine. Like it was pretty much dark and I was able to get like what I needed. It was perfect. So you prefer natural light because it's more convenient, or is it because the way it looks? Both. I like the way it looks way better. I mean, you can absolutely make artificial light to look like natural light if you use the proper scrims and all of that, but that's just, I've gotten away from having to like use anything that I don't need. So really just having a camera is so nice.
I know. Yeah. I know the ISOs now you can go to, I don't know, 16,000 and you're still, I mean, it's not perfect, but it's okay, right?
Yeah. Mine goes higher than that.
Yeah. Now talking about equipment, I know you are Nikon person, right?
I am a Nikon person, but I've recently invested in Fuji.
I know. You have this monster, the GFX 100, right? I mean, it's insane. It's a medium format camera. And so one of the things I wanted to ask you was, because the images you get from there, I mean, like gigantic, right? A lot of detail.
The files are huge.
It's a monster. So do you have to upgrade your computer or something to kind of
I upgraded my computer at the end of last year, so my computer can handle the files. My laptop not so much. I mean, it handles them, but it's slow. My computer's fine. I have the iMac, and it's fairly new. I had to upgrade all my memory cards. I had to upgrade what else did I have to upgrade? I mean, the memory cards. Oh, I mean, just storage. Just storage in general. Like you have to, each file I think is 200 megabytes.
Wow. So
it's ridiculous. I do not use it for client work.
I was going to ask, because then when you shoot a session, how many photos you normally shoot in a session?
With the GFX.
No, like normally.
Oh, normally around 400.
Yeah.
Sometimes a little less, sometimes a little more, depending. But average, I would say 400.
And with the GFX, 10.
With the GFX, it's more like 100, 150.
Yeah.
I kind of like figure out what I want before I'm shooting that. It's not like.
Right. And which in a way, kind of, the fact that you have to slow down maybe really nice. Makes you, think better about, what the outcome will be, and, plan and prepare, right?
Yes. Yeah. I haven't shot, I don't think I've shot anyone Oh, I did shoot a couple with the GFX, but mostly I've been just doing self-portraits with it. So it's hard because I do it on like a 10 image interval. So,
Oh.
you know, it's hard to like only take 100, but
Yeah.
that's pretty much what I've been doing.
So when you shoot with your Nikon, what lens normally you use? What is your preference in terms of lens?
So I upgraded my Nikon 2 recently. I got the Z7 and I got the 50. Their 50 only has the 1.8, the Z series.
Yeah.
So I use that, but I've been shooting at closer to like 2.2 even. So that was fine. That wasn't like, I had the Sigma Art 1.4. And I mean, the amount of times I was using the wide open like that was not that many. So it wasn't really an issue.
So what do you think about the Sigma R? Because I also had the same lens.
I love it. It's beautiful, but the focus is so annoying. I felt like between the D800 and that lens, I don't know if it was the combo of both, but I mean, the Z, like there's never focus issues now. It's like, I don't have to retake photos twice. It's so nice.
Okay.
And it's half the size, which is even better.
So do you shoot only with the 50? You use other lenses, zoom lenses?
I have other lenses. I really keep for my sessions. Like I said, I like minimal equipment. I don't want to think about equipment. I want to think about what I'm doing. So yeah, I pretty much keep the 50 on all the time. With the Fuji, I got the 63, which is pretty equivalent. I probably will get the 35, but yeah, that's pretty for my new camera. That's what I got for my D800. I mean, I've got the 24-70 that I was using a lot, the 50. Those were the two I was using. I have used my 70-200. I was using that for self-portrait stuff, and it's a beautiful lens.
The lens is beautiful. Yeah, I love it too. Although I sold it because I wasn't using it too much.
Yeah, I know I have so much equipment to sell.
Yeah, and I'm like you. I like to focus on the essentials. Or have the bare minimum so I can focus on my clients, and I helps a lot. But not, right now I just have my 85 1.2, which I didn't sell because I dropped it and the autofocus doesn't work correctly. That's the only reason
you manual focus it?
Yeah, I mean, which is better in a way because this lens is really great, but it's very slow. And so, yeah.
I do love the 85. I just sold mine also.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
You didn't sell yours. Yeah, I just sold it.
And so for the GFX, what do you use? 100? 85?
63.
63, which is equivalent to what in
50.
50.
Closest to a 50. Yeah. I'll probably get another lens, but I bought it like the day before I was leaving for Utah, and I just needed something. So I was like, whatever you have, send me.
Also, now I would like to ask you about, you have, I'm reading my notes here because I made a lot of notes. I'm not sure if we want to cover everything, but I wanted to have it here. So your style is very consistent. That's one of the things I noticed in your work is very consistent. You the same, you use almost the same palette in all your images. It's very warm. How can you tell me a little more about the process, how you evolved to reach this specific style, and if you think that it will change in the future? Because in my case, for example, right now I'm experimenting with color, a lot of color in my images. So how do you feel about that, your style, and if it's going to evolve maybe in the future or not?
Yeah, I think a lot of people struggle with finding consistency in their style, and I mean, it's taken me a long time to like have it be where, I mean, every image is very consistent throughout the entire session. And I think a lot of things play into that. Lighting, number one. I think people don't, I think people think it's always like, oh, you use the same preset. And it's like, no, the lighting is really what comes first before that. And then that allows me to, you know, when I created my presets, everything works regardless, because I'm lighting the same. Like I use a lot of hard light, and you know, I have presets based on like where in my home I'm shooting, that all, whether it's hard light or whether it's soft light, they're, you know, the same. They make it look very similar.
Yeah.
So and I try to, I like kind of combining hard light and soft light throughout the session, so that, you know, the session isn't the same. You know, they have a lot of variety. And it's not even variety in posing, it's variety in lighting. So I'm using hard light, and then I'm using we'll go outdoors and I'll use like full sun outside. And then I'll use like pockets of light where it's just like hard light in some areas. So it's, I think that is probably number one. As far as like post-production and editing, I don't know, it's funny because like I'll try to do something different and I'll like it. Like if I do like cooler tones or something like that, but I always end up going with the warm tones. I just,
yeah.
I don't know if it's something I would change. I've tried and I just.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes it's like that too. I mean, yeah, it's interesting what you said about hard light and soft light. And you say you use a lot of hard light. And that's for me, I try to avoid hard light as at all costs. So
Yeah.
What is that you like about the hard light?
I like that dramatic effect. I like being able to like sculpt a picture into what I want. So like if I have somebody laying down and, you know, there's a hard beam across their face, like having them like, okay, move your head ever so slightly so that I can get it, so it's just covering one eye and the rest of your face is dark, or, you know, just creating shapes with the shadows and stuff like that.
That's great. Yeah, maybe I'll try that.
Yeah,
I
you should.
try to avoid. I always try to look for places.
People are so scared of hard light. Everyone is.
Yeah, because in my experience, it's difficult to handle because some people look great in hard light, some people don't, and so I try to avoid it. Yeah.
Do you mean like as far as like skin and it showing everything?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, and also because I feel like I have to shoot like an aperture that is, you know, 4.5, you know, 6, you know, high apertures. But I'll try. So what is you shoot also wide open when you do hard light, and you maybe increase your speed, or?
Yep, I increase my speed. I'll usually keep it at the same, like between 1.8 and 2.8.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll go up to 4, but yeah, you can, I mean, if you're shooting outside or something like that and it's too bright, you can get a filter. I have filters, the neutral density filters that can add a stop or two.
Yeah.
But inside, it's usually fine just upping your shutter speed. But yeah, I use the filters a lot.
Cool.
Especially like when traveling.
Yeah. Also, I wanted to ask you about your selfies, because this is something that a lot of people, I mean, your work, you make a lot of selfies, and they're beautiful. They're really beautiful.
Thank you.
Yes, I wanted to ask you, because most of these are nudes, right? So have you?
Yeah.
I mean, I will guess not too many photographers will feel comfortable doing that. Have you had any problems with that? You know, people, you know, family and friends and things, you know, like that.
No, I think I've been shooting nudes for so long. I think I don't think anyone questions it anymore. I mean, I started shooting nudes in school. It was over 10 years ago. So, I mean, at this point, it's pretty normal for my friends and family. Like my mom's done a session before. So Yeah, I've never had issues with that. And I mean, I post stuff all of the time, like on my Instagram and stuff. And most of the time you don't even know it. People don't even know it's me.
Mm-hmm.
I could just be another client. You know, whether my face is in it or not, I don't think people notice. And I won't put like, sometimes I will, but mostly I don't put that it's me. Like I'll tag myself, but unless you know,
Mm-hmm.
then you don't know. I posted one and and some lady commented and she was like, can you ask her yoga routine? And I was like, oh, she doesn't do yoga. I can verify that.
Oh, that's funny. Do you do this because you just enjoy it, or because you want to try new things, or?
Yeah, both. It's really helpful when I'm not feeling inspired and I'm in like kind of a creative rut. And, you know, sometimes with clients, I treat my clients as like a creative session anyway. So I don't go into it thinking like, oh, okay, this is just a client. I'm going to do this and this. Like I kind of go into every session with the idea, like I'm going to create something new. But if I'm kind of just like, I don't know, having a bad week or not feeling creative, if I do a self-portrait session, it's like complete turnaround. I feel so much better. And then just using it to find new poses, new areas to shoot. Cause obviously like I don't have clients all hours of the day. So it's like, if I wake up at 5 a.m., which I'm an early person, so I'm up early. So if I'm up early and there's like a new spot that I notice with beautiful light, I'll pull out the camera and shoot there. And then the next time I'm booking someone, I'll be like, hey, if you want to do an early morning session, and then I'll use that spot. I've done that every time I do a self-portrait session. I always use that area for my next session. Even like outdoor stuff, I've shot myself a lot outdoors, and I'm always finding new spots. And then I'll bring clients there, repeat clients that want like something new.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do that. I did that a couple weeks ago. So yeah, it's helpful for everything. I think everyone should be doing them.
Yeah. You
I've told you that.
actually you had you did a story in your Instagram saying, you know, how I inspire you, and I wrote, you inspire me to take selfies, and because
Yes, I love that.
not naked, but
yeah, but still.
yeah, which is great. I think, you know, this coronavirus situation has forced us to, or pushed us to do, you know, things that we probably never tried to do before.
Yeah, I mean, not having clients or, you know, just people to shoot in general for 2 months. Like I was doing self-portrait sessions. There's one day I did 5 days in a row where I did a session, and it's not like a 20-minute thing. I'm usually shooting for at least 2 hours. It's like a full session.
Oh yeah, you do for yourself, like a full session. Like,
yeah. So it was so nice to be able to do that. Like I can't imagine like not picking up my camera for 3 months.
Yeah.
Just because I didn't have clients. So I had so much stuff to share and just new stuff. And I was feeling super creative, even though I didn't have clients. It was amazing.
Great. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So tell me about what do you think, or what is the craziest story you had about, you know, in your as a photographer, something like crazy that happened to you, the craziest thing?
Oh my God. I don't even know.
Your clients, or I don't know, something that happened to you when you were doing selfies, or
Okay. Well, something that just happened. So I bought that GFX, this ridiculous camera, and went to Utah. And I wanted to just shoot out west. Like I've been dying to shoot in all those national parks. And so we flew into Vegas, rented a car, and drove through all of Utah. And we didn't plan anything. It was kind of just like, let's just go and figure it out. There were a couple parks I wanted to hit, like Zion and where else? The Salt Flats. I hadn't been there. And I remember everyone going there during, you know, WPPI, and I hadn't been. So I was like, I need to go there. So we got to this one spot. It was the 4th of July, and it was beautiful. There was this lake, and there were people, like, it was 4th of July. They were doing fireworks there, which we didn't know. We pulled up. They were like, "Are you here for the fireworks?" We're like, "I guess." Cool. Sure. So we go in, and there's, you know, it's a big lake, and there's groups of people everywhere, but we found this spot that was kind of private. There was like grass on each side, and it was this like little tiny area of sand. So I was like, "Oh, this is perfect. I could do self-portraits right here." So, you know, the lake is right there. The sun is going down. It's beautiful. Oh my gosh. It was, you know, the salt lakes are amazing. So I set the tripod up on the sand, and I like go into the water, and I take a bunch, and the sun is like pretty low at this point. I'm like, okay, that's good. I got what I wanted. And then like it got super orange. Like the sun was really, really low at this point. And I was like, okay, wait, I got to go back out and get like one more shot. So I moved the camera with the tripod into the lake, like just a little bit. It's like this much water. I'm like, there's no movement. It's completely like flat. It's fine. Well, I put the tripod there, turn around, like run into the water, and the interval timer is going off. And I look back, and the tripod is falling. I'm like, oh
wait,
no.
the Fuji?
The Fuji, the one I just got.
No.
Yeah. So
Is it
I'm like,
weatherproof?
no.
Oh, wow. Oh,
No. So I'm like, oh my God. So I like turn around and I run to the camera. It had like, I mean, it was submerged for sure. So I get it out, and I'm just like, oh God, this is the second time I've dropped.
I know. I was going to say, you have problems with
water. I
yeah.
should have known. I should have like got a housing equipment for it. I just like didn't even think, because there was no movement in the water. I was like, I'm just gonna do a couple. It'll be fine.
Mm.
Oh my God, such an idiot. So I get the camera, and I'm like, all right, well, we gotta go get rice. So I go get rice, put in the rice. The next day, it's like fine, it's working. So I call the company. I had bought like insurance for it.
Oh, yeah.
I made sure I got like the drop coverage and all of that.
Yeah.
So I called. I ended up just getting a new one.
Oh, oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah, I had to. I was like, I'm not messing around. It was working, but I was like, there was sand in it, probably. I don't really think there was water in it, because it was like so quick. It like, I pulled it out right away, but yeah, that was probably.
Oh. And that's an expensive camera.
That's a very expensive camera.
$10,000.
Like, what?
It's like 10,000 or something like that.
Yeah, just the body is 10,000.
Yeah.
The cards were each $200. The extra battery, I mean, the lens was $1,500. Like, I mean, I spent about 13 or 14,000 on it before I left.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. You have issues with water. No, don't go.
I have issues with water. I cannot photograph near water anymore. Yeah. But when I looked at those files, I was like, okay, these are amazing.
Oh yeah. So Sharon, I would love to show them like in the video right now.
I will. I'll send you some. I haven't even. So when did I get back? I went in the beginning of the month. So it was a few weeks ago now. I haven't even downloaded all the photos.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I need to like finish downloading and editing. But yeah, I have a couple good ones from that spot. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, it was worth it. $14,000 picture.
Yeah. Just I wanted to say, for people that don't know, you also fell on a lake last year while you were shooting.
While holding the camera.
So, yeah.
That one I felt also, so it was not just the camera.
But it was a similar experience, you know.
Yeah. Not having good luck with water.
That's funny. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a good story. Okay, so why? What do you think is the most important thing that have helped you achieve success in your photography business?
I would say probably being consistent.
In your work?
Not even just with work, and I don't mean like as far as like the look of your work, I just mean being consistent shooting. Like I started shooting nudes in 2007 and I haven't stopped. Like I kind of knew, like my first session doing a nude session, I was kind of like, this is what I want to do. Like, this is what I'm passionate about. I don't really have interest in photographing anything else at this point. So not, boudoir wasn't really popular back then. So it wasn't something I thought I could just do and make a career out of. But I was kind of like, well, I'm going to try. And I always said I was a boudoir photographer, even when I was only shooting like one session a month and I was doing other stuff. Like I was like, no, this is what I want to do. So this is what I am, kind of thing. And I kept doing it. Even if there weren't like a ton of clients, I wasn't really advertising for it. I just kept doing it. And then it got to the point where I was like, okay, I'm going to just buy something, make it a boudoir studio. So that's when I bought my house. And that was always the goal. So I just like, everything I did was to get to where I am now. It was like really just having one clear goal and taking all the little steps to get there. I had other jobs along the way, but I knew they were temporary. I knew what my main focus was, and I just stuck to that. So, when it was buying a house, I was like, I need a house that I can make a boudoir studio. When it was buying furniture, it was like, I need furniture that will lend itself to my style and my photography. So every single thing that I did was to get to this goal. And then even
sorry, that's great, because you had a very clear goal in mind, and then everything you did was getting you closer to that goal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And I mean, there's people that will say like, that have told me like, oh my gosh, like all of a sudden, like you're crazy, like you're blowing up. And I'm like, it's not all of a sudden. Like I've been working at this for a very long time, and it seems like that. Like it kind of, sometimes it'll seem like, oh, in the past 2 years, but really like, yeah, the past 2 or 3 years, I've been successful as far as like the business and the money side of things. But it was all of those steps leading up to that made that possible, and that allowed that to happen. So it was really everything. And it wasn't just like, oh, the past 2 years I figured it out. Like, no, it was
a long time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's great that you say that it's consistency, because you have to persevere, right?
Yeah. And I see a lot of boudoir photographers like, oh, I had my, I've been shooting for a year and I'm still not shooting how I want, and I'm still not priced where I want, and I'm still not making as much money as I want. And it's like, 1 year, like, come on, like keep going. 1 year is nothing.
Right.
Like think about a doctor. Like you think they go through 1 year of schooling? Like no, they're going through a million years of schooling, and then they're doing a residency, and then they're working somewhere where they probably hate for years. It's like, it's not a immediate thing. It's not instant gratification. It's just like anything else. And if you want to be good at it, you have to just continue and practice and go through those shitty years of figuring it all out to get to where you want to be. I think that's a huge misconception, is just like, oh, it's art, so it's easy, or it's photography, so it's easy. Like, no. It's just like everything else.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely true. But also, you are very good with people. Like I've seen you, you book people when you are in the bar, like doing normal things. So that's crazy, and I think that's also something that for us photographers is very important to be able to relate to other people. Would you say
Definitely.
that? Yeah.
Especially in this genre and shooting boudoir, like people need to feel comfortable with you. They need to feel like they can be vulnerable. And if you want them to shoot what you want to shoot and how you want to shoot. So like my style is very like minimal clothing, minimal everything. I don't like props and stuff like that. So to be able to say, this is how I want to shoot you, and you're going to do this because this is what I want, instead of them telling me what they want. You have to be confident, and you have to make people feel safe and comfortable and all of those things, so that they trust you, so that they're like, okay, I trust your art and your vision, so you can do whatever you want, rather than coming to you and being like, this is what I see and this is what I want. Oh, I've seen this picture and I want to do this.
Yeah.
I never have people do that anymore, because it's kind of like, that's not like, you know what I shoot at this point. Like, you've seen my work enough. And if you want that, then you're going to come to me and you're going to expect what I normally shoot.
Yeah.
Instead of,
you are the one, directing your shoot.
Exactly. Yeah.
You have a specific style, and I totally get that. Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
So just to end this interview, because I don't want to make it too long, but what would you say to people that are beginning to do boudoir photography, and they say, oh, I have problems, I can't find anybody to pose for me? How would you say, what would you be your best advice for people that are beginning to do boudoir photography?
I mean, for me, it was really just finding a couple friends that were willing to model, and those couple friends had, loved their photos and had like a great experience, and they told their friends, and then their friends would be like, oh, if she needs another model, like, let me know. And I mean, I shot people for free for years. I mean, in school, 4 years. I really wasn't, I mean, I would charge people once in a while if I had no idea who they were, but most of the people I was shooting for 4 years were just friends, and then they became friends of friends. And then I started shooting in the beginning, I would constantly use. I mean, I have a couple girls that I shot in like 2007 that one of them just came to my studio for a session. And I mean, I shot her for a project, a portfolio project for school over 10 years ago. And I was like, this is crazy. And it was so cool. But, using the same people over and over that are willing to just like help you experiment, and willing to like, yeah, I don't know what this is going to be or how it's going to turn out, but just like be my muse.
Right.
I think that is like really key, is just constantly shooting, not setting up a shoot a month, like setting up 10 shoots a month where, yeah, you're going to be busting your ass, but all of those hours you're putting in are going to get you to where you want to be. So it's like, do you want to spend the next year doing 10 shoots and being that far along, or do you want to do 100 shoots and be really far along? And I really think that that consistency and just finding people that are willing to let you practice is really the most important, because it's not something, I mean, unless you could do self-portraits, you really kind of need someone to like figure it all out and see what works and see what you like and all of that.
That's great. Thank you very much for your time. Where can people find you? Instagram.
So my Instagram is Danielle Martin Photography. My website is daniellemartin.com. I'm not really on, I have a Facebook, but I don't really use it because they hate me. They're always kicking me off of there. But yeah, mostly Instagram.
Yeah, great. And I'm gonna put the handles.
The link, perfect. Awesome.
So great. Well, thank you very much for joining me for this interview. This is the first of many, I hope.
Ooh, love it. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I know. So thank you very much. And
yeah, you're so welcome. It was so nice to chat with you.
All right.